Betrayal rarely arrives with thunder. It approaches quietly, like soft footsteps behind you, familiar enough that you don't think to turn around. History remembers the moment Julius Caesar fell to the blades of his assassins, but the true betrayal happened long before the knives were drawn. It happened in the silent glances, the shifting loyalties, the subtle fractures he chose to ignore. What shocked Caesar wasn't the violence. It was the realization that the final blow came from the one he trusted most. Every betrayal begins long before the act itself. It begins in the tiny red flags we dismiss because confronting them feels uncomfortable. The subtle envy in a friend's eyes, the half-hearted support, the jokes that cut a little too deep, the small withdrawals of loyalty we convince ourselves are harmless. Humans are naturally inclined to believe in goodness, to assume that the people we let close will protect us, not dismantle us. And so, we blind ourselves to the truth until it is too late. The deepest betrayals are not committed by enemies. They come from the people who learn our weaknesses, our dreams, our fears. They come from those who stand close enough to strike with precision. For centuries, philosophers and strategists from Machiavelli to modern psychologists have warned us that human relationships are far more complex and far more dangerous than we like to believe. This story is not about paranoia. It is about awareness. By the time you reach the end of this journey, you will understand the hidden signals, the psychological cracks, and the Machiavellian red flags that reveal who might one day betray you long before they ever do. Betrayal is not an accident of character. It is a pattern embedded deep within human psychology. Long before societies existed, early humans survived through cooperation, but they also survived through deception. In a world where resources were scarce and competition was constant, hiding one's true intentions became a subtle evolutionary advantage. Someone who could smile while suppressing resentment, who could appear loyal while quietly calculating, often lived longer than the one who expressed everything openly. Modern humans like to imagine we have evolved beyond these instincts, but the truth is that the same ancient mechanisms still operate beneath our polished words and curated personalities. Jealousy, insecurity, and the fear of losing status push people to hide parts of themselves they refuse to confront openly. They conceal envy behind encouragement, resentment behind jokes, and competition behind compliments. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago when he wrote that humans are ungrateful, fickle, deceitful, driven not by morality but by self-interest. In psychological terms, this mirrors the principle that people often behave in ways that protect their ego, even if it harms others. Sometimes betrayal doesn't come from hatred. It comes from someone's need to feel equal, superior, or secure. What makes betrayal so devastating is not the act itself, but the illusion that preceded it. Our minds resist believing that someone close could wish us harm. Cognitive dissonance blinds us, filtering out warning signs because accepting them would shatter the image we hold of the relationship. And so, betrayal rarely feels like something someone does to us. It feels like a truth we refuse to see. Red flag no one. When admiration turns into envy, envy doesn't begin with hatred. It begins with admiration. It begins with someone looking at you and thinking, I wish I had what they have. At first, they celebrate you. They cheer for your achievements. They speak highly of you when you're not there. And for a moment, you believe their admiration is pure. But admiration has a fragile lifespan. The moment your success stops inspiring them and starts reminding them of their own inadequacies, something shifts. The compliment becomes shorter. The smile becomes tighter. Their support becomes conditional. They will congratulate you, but only after a pause long enough for you to notice. They will say they're happy for you, but their eyes will flicker with a subtle tension you can't quite describe. This is where envy begins its quiet transformation. Envy rarely announces itself. It disguises itself in humor, in sarcasm, in small dismissive comments meant to shrink your victories just enough to make them feel balanced again. They will minimize your achievements, implying luck instead of effort. They will question your opportunities, your abilities, even your motives. History is full of bright individuals who fell not because they did wrong, but because their brilliance illuminated the insecurities of the people around them. Machiavelli warned that envy is more dangerous than hatred because envy hides behind a friendly mask. A jealous person doesn't want to destroy you at first. They simply want to feel equal to you. But when equality feels impossible, sabotage becomes tempting. If you notice someone who once admired you begin to subtly distance themselves from your light, take it seriously. Admiration turning into envy is one of the earliest and deadliest signs of future betrayal. Red flag 2. The friend who never calls you first there is a particular kind of person who drifts into your life only when the winds are favorable for them. They seldom reach out unless they need something: your time, your attention, your help, or your presence. At first, you don't question it. Life is busy. People forget. You tell yourself it's nothing. But over time, a pattern forms. When you're struggling, their silence is louder than their words ever were. When you succeed, they appear with an uneasy smile, asking just enough to keep themselves relevant, but never enough to truly understand you. And when they need something, they suddenly remember your name, as if your existence flickers into reality only when it benefits them. This is not a coincidence. It is a structure. Machiavelli observed that many people attach themselves to others not out of loyalty, but out of usefulness. In psychology, this is called a transactional relationship, where a person sees you not as a human being, but as a tool. They measure your value based on what you can provide: comfort, advice, opportunities, information, or validation. These individuals vanish during your darkness because your struggles offer them nothing. They return when you have something to give, because that is when you become convenient again. Their loyalty is not loyalty at all. It is opportunism disguised as friendship. If you find yourself always initiating, always giving, always supporting, while they only appear in moments that serve their interests, understand what it means. They are not part of your life. They are merely passing through it, collecting what they need before moving on. Red flag no 3. They joke about your weaknesses. But they mean every word. Some betrayals begin with laughter. Not loud, joyful laughter, the quiet, cutting kind. The type wrapped in the safety of a joke, delivered with a smirk, followed by the familiar line, "Relax, I'm only kidding." But the truth hides in the tone, not the punchline. People reveal more through their humor than through their sincerity. A joke aimed at your ambitions. A playful comment about your insecurities. A laugh at the things you take seriously. At first, you dismiss it. Everyone jokes. Everyone teases. But the human mind uses humor in a way far more complex than entertainment. Humor is a weapon disguised as a smile. It gives people permission to express the truth without taking responsibility for it. Machiavelli believed that those who intend to harm you will soften their hostility until the day they no longer need to. Modern psychology agrees. Jokes often act as social tests. They allow someone to gauge how much disrespect you will tolerate. If you accept one small insult masked as humor, you will accept the next. And eventually, those jokes become patterns, shaping the dynamic of the relationship. Pay attention to the jokes that make you feel smaller. Pay attention to the laugh that lingers a little too long, as if they enjoyed the sting it caused. People who genuinely care will joke to make you feel included. People who resent you will joke to make you feel inferior. And behind every repeated joke about your flaws lies a truth they are too comfortable hiding and too cowardly to admit. 6. Red flag no 4. When someone watches your every move, there are people who observe you not out of admiration, but out of strategy. They study you in silence: the way you speak, the choices you make, the opportunities you pursue. Their attention feels flattering at first. It feels like interest, curiosity, maybe even support. But slowly, it starts to feel different. It begins to feel calculated. Some individuals don't compete with you openly. They compete in the shadows. They monitor your progress as if your life were a map they're trying to navigate better than you. Every achievement you share is quietly measured. Every failure is quietly noted. They ask questions that sound innocent, but their curiosity has a specific direction. They want information, not connection. Machiavelli understood this behavior well. He believed that if someone intends to surpass or undermine you, the first thing they will do is study you. Observation is a form of preparation. Psychology calls this social surveillance, the act of watching someone closely to gain advantage, to anticipate their moves, or to imitate their path. You may notice small signs. They suddenly adopt your habits, your ideas, your style. They replicate what works for you, but never acknowledge where they learned it. They seem less interested in who you are and more interested in what you're doing. Their presence feels like a mirror placed too close, reflecting you back, but with a strange and unsettling intention behind it. A person who watches everything but contributes nothing is not a supporter. They are a strategist. And sometimes they are studying you because one day they want to step into your place. The modern tools of betrayal, social media, screens, and silent enemies. Betrayal has evolved. It no longer requires confrontation, whispers, or secret meetings in dark corners. Today, it happens behind illuminated screens, through silent taps, and through the quiet collection of digital breadcrumbs. Modern betrayal is subtle, faceless, and often invisible until the damage is already done. Social media has become the perfect stage for envy, rivalry, and resentment. People watch your life unfold in curated fragments, your successes, your relationships, your opportunities. But what you experience as moments of pride, others experience as reminders of what they lack. Silent comparisons turn into hidden resentment. Admiration transforms into jealousy with every scroll. There are people who never speak to you, yet analyze everything you post. They track your progress, your friendships, your routines. They screenshot your achievements, not to celebrate them, but to dissect them. Digital surveillance creates the illusion of closeness, even when the intentions behind that closeness are dark. The person who never congratulates you might still be the first to notice when something goes wrong. Modern betrayal doesn't always look like sabotage. Sometimes it begins with gossip shared in private group chats. Sometimes it's quiet judgment passed on through likes withheld or comments made behind your back. Sometimes it's your personal struggles becoming someone else's amusement. The danger of the digital age is that enemies don't need access to your home or your life. They only need access to your profile. They can study you without ever being seen, and envy can grow in spaces where you assume no hostility exists. In this era, betrayal is quieter but far more precise. The Machiavellian rule, how to outsmart betrayers before they strike the truth about betrayal, is simple. It is predictable. People do not suddenly become disloyal. They reveal their disloyalty in fragments through patterns, not moments. Machiavelli understood this long before modern psychology existed. He believed that to survive in a world driven by ambition and insecurity, one must not judge people by what they say, but by what they repeatedly do. The first rule is to trust patterns more than promises. Words can be rehearsed. Intentions can be staged. But consistency is impossible to fake. Someone who loves you inconsistently does not love you. Someone who supports you only when it benefits them does not support you. And someone who envies you quietly will eventually undermine you loudly. The second rule is to guard your plans. Not because the world is full of enemies, but because even well-meaning people can become dangerous when their insecurities awaken. Psychology shows that once people know your intentions, they unconsciously begin evaluating themselves against your future. Some will root for you. Others will want to reach your destination before you do. The third rule is to test loyalty with boundaries. Small boundaries reveal big truths. The people who stay respectful are the ones who value you. The ones who react with irritation, distance, or hostility only respected the access you gave them, not you. Above all, Machiavelli teaches awareness without paranoia. You do not need to fear others, you only need to understand them. Betrayal becomes avoidable when you stop expecting loyalty from those who have never shown it. Seeing clearly is not coldness. It is power. Trust carefully, move wisely. Betrayal is not a rare disaster. It is a human pattern, as old as ambition, as subtle as envy, and as persistent as desire. It does not arrive out of nowhere. It grows in silence, in the spaces we ignore, in the whispers we dismiss. The people who betray us are often those we hold closest, because proximity allows their intentions to unfold unnoticed until the consequences are irreversible. The lessons of history and psychology are clear. Understanding human behavior, spotting red flags, and recognizing the patterns of envy, opportunism, and hidden hostility are acts of self-preservation. Machiavelli knew that to protect yourself, you must watch, you must measure, and you must respond, not react. Loyalty is earned. Trust is tested. Relationships exist on a spectrum between utility and genuine care, and recognizing which is which allows us to navigate the treacherous landscape of human ambition. Do not mistake caution for fear. Do not mistake vigilance for cynicism. To move wisely is to see clearly, to notice the subtle cracks in the people around you, and to act before those cracks become weapons. Every glance, every joke, every absence, every calculated observation tells a story if you are willing to listen. Ultimately, betrayal is inevitable for some. But for those who understand it, recognize it, and respect it, betrayal need not be devastating. The choice is ours, to be blindsided or to see the truth in time. Trust carefully. Move wisely. And let awareness become your most powerful defense.